What's going on, everybody? Let me turn this thing around. I'm still playing with it. These texts, as you can see, I got my trusty driving camera. Anyway, bom dia. E aí, meus caras, my dudes. E aí, minhas amigas, my female friends. How's everybody going this morning? This is your man, Larry, the American Brazilian. Just wanted to come on live really quick. No theme music today. Just kind of wanted to share a quick thought on a topic that has been hot for quite some time, but it's been laying a little bit dormant as of, I think, yesterday. That completely has been changed. And now the topic is not only hot, but it's at the forefront of every news clipping and will be probably for I don't know, the next few months or years. And that is the topic of abortion. Um, so from what I understand, and I actually took a break on watching the news. I used to watch the news, not necessarily religiously, but I did watch it to the point where it became background noise. But you know, it's only so much that you want to hear about. You know, people getting hurt, and of course everything happening with Ukraine. And of course, I'm not saying be insensitive or desensitized, but I'm saying that at some point it begins to become repetitive and a little bit um, I don't know, depressing. I'll say it that way. But in any event, the topic of abortion, from what I understand, Roe versus Wade has been overturned. And from what I read something briefly on it yesterday, and that was that although it will be overturned on a federal level, there are some states who will have certain leverages to, decide how they want to deal with it. Now, I live in a state that is pretty conservative, not so much because the people are, but because the people in authority are, and that's Florida. Florida can be an interesting state. Um, I think at some point in time they'll probably, which our governor is kind of touting that he wants to get this done. What I'm about to mention, and that's repeal the gun law, so that everybody can carry a firearm unconcealed, non-concealed weapon. Um, I mean, Florida is one of those interesting states. I know when you hear on the news when things occur, they say Florida man or Florida woman, which I guess people in Texas maybe can say the same. But I know in Florida, anything that happens, they'll say Florida man, Florida woman. So Florida is just kind of one of those states. But anyway, my thoughts on abortion have a lot of personal roots. And before I tell you what my personal story is concerning abortion, I'll tell you my actual thoughts on the subject. So I feel like abortion is wrong when used in the place of birth control. I think that if incest, if rape, if those are extenuating circumstances, uh, that I think that you should. I mean, that's nobody's life should be a danger. So I think that that's one of those situations that it should be dealt with based on how the person whose life in danger sees fit. But I don't think that it should ever be used to clean up, you know, someone's lack of irresponsibility. If you're knowingly having unprotected sex and the person gets pregnant, I don't feel like the woman should just say, well, you know what, I'm gonna have an abortion if the man doesn't agree. And I don't believe that you should be having unprotected sex anyway. Or some people I've heard it say, well, I'm gonna have an abortion because this guy, he ain't crap. Well, you knew that when you lay down with him. And so, not judging anybody, but I don't think it should be used as a form of contraceptive. Um, but my personal experience has to do with the subject because when I was much, much younger, I was being irresponsible as a young 20-year-old guy sometimes can be. I don't even know if I was 20. I may have been 19 or whatever. But anyway, yeah, I think I was 20. 19. I don't know. Anyway, one of those ages. But I was involved with a young lady, and we decided to cohabitate, and she got pregnant. And of course, I wasn't I wasn't horrified or terrified. I was kind of low key excited, but you know, being a guy who grew up with his both his parents for the most of for the majority of my young adult life that were together, I questioned certain things about, okay, well, we'll need to buy this, we'll need to buy that, we'll need to do this, I'll need to do that, so that's kind of where my mind went. Her, on the other hand, she was like, no, I don't want the child. And I'm not bashing her because, again, we were young and irresponsible. And we did what young, irresponsible people do. Um, and that's try to take the easy way out. Now, when I say we, I use that term loosely, and I'll tell you why. Well, anyway, she decided she wanted to have an abortion, and I told her that I didn't believe in abortion. Now, I didn't grow up in church. I would go to church and here and there, but I was always raised with certain morals and certain you know things that my parents instilled in my brother and I. And so for me, that was something that I felt like it was very, very wrong. So I wanted no part in it. So I opted, I was like, I don't think we should do that. Let's figure out something else. And we had a disagreement, and she needed the resources to get it done. Well, I didn't want it. I didn't want to get done, wanted to participate in it. So I told her no. And I felt like I was doing the right thing because I felt like if I would have participated in in helping you pay for that, then I would have been equally as responsible for something like that for something like that occurring. And I will tell you this: on one hand, I was proud of myself, but just keeping it, as the young folks say, completely 100 after the procedure was done, and I discovered, because at that point we broke up when we just could not agree on that. At one point I was kind of relieved, and not so much that we didn't have to take care of responsibility, although that was a part of my relief. Something's going on with my thing. Hold on. Okay, I don't know what happened. I apologize. But at one point, I was relieved that I didn't have to deal with some of the responsibilities. Really wasn't that high from a standpoint of me being relieved, but it was like, okay, well, I saw this person, and now I know what this person really is all about. Um, and I didn't want to be in the shoes of how I see some guys, with dealing with the whole baby mama stuff. Um, I guess as years went by, I never saw that person again, but it always was in the back of my mind. I always felt like some sense of guilt. This thing is I'm driving, so that's what's going on. So I'm having to connect and reconnect. But anyway, I always felt some sense of guilt, but and then I felt the guilt increased because there was a sense of relief. So I know I'm rambling a little bit, but my take is, again, I don't think it should be used as a form of birth control. But if somebody's life is in danger, if there's rape or if there's incest, then I think at that point, then that it should be strongly considered as an alternative. From what I understand, and I was listening to Attorney Dennis Sperling's podcast last night, listened to a little bit of Obsidian. They were talking about it. I even jumped over there to Mac City Limits, but they weren't talking about that. They were talking about something good. I just like to hear Tony Maceo and the Fat Mac talk. But anyway, Dennis Sperling put out some facts and some numbers, and he was saying basically that it was, I think, upwards of 20 million abortions that have been done by in the Black community. And if you know the numbers of the head count of Black people here in America, it's 46.8 million. So imagine if 20 million of those, so that's almost half of the Black population, the current Black population that have been aborted. So I don't know how states are going to tackle that. I think it's going to be an interesting situation. I think at some point, if they in fact enforce it as they probably will, I know in Florida, then it'll probably be viewed as murder. So it's going to be interesting. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Hope I didn't keep you guys too long. This is your man Larry, the American Brazilian, saying até breve. Lembra-se, meus amigos and amigas, no do jogador do jogo é verdade.